All right, everyone. Today we are talking about a very requested podcast topic. I feel like they all are these days, but this one has been heavily requested, and it is about conception, planning for fertility, what we are doing, boosting your own fertility, egg health, sperm health, all those things. So we are going to dive on in. I'm very, very excited that was a very powerful, I'm very, very excited to go into this because I just feel like with the increase of infertility, more and more people in the world, more and more people, especially the US, are getting just looped into the shit they're putting into their body and how that's actually affecting them long term. Now, what I want to start off with is letting you guys know, for those of you in Queen Alchemy, or if you were in Queen Alchemy, like a previous round, you'll still have access to the Kajabi portal. I have put in a full conception guide in there. I got asked this a lot last round of everything we're doing for conception, blah, blah, blah. So I made a conception guide of all the things that we're doing, the products, links, all that kind of stuff. And it is in the Kajabi portal for Queen Alchemy. So one, if you haven't joined Queen Alchemy, now it's more of an incentive to do so. And two, it is in there for any past clients as well that want to listen, that want to get the links for everything and kind of a fuller plan than what I'm talking about today of what we're doing. The reason why I put it in Queen Alchemy and I haven't just put it as a freebie on the website is because I am so big on making sure that energetically your body is actually in a place where you feel like, yes, I want a baby, I can hold a baby, like your energy field is open, your womb space is open and happy and all that kind of stuff. So if you are struggling to fall pregnant, you definitely need to consider joining Queen Alchemy. Even if you aren't struggling to fall pregnant, but you want to be a mum soon and you want to make sure that you don't pass down your shit to your children, and you want to make sure that your body is energetically in the best place and that you're actually able to cultivate and like an environment that is going to just lead you to have a better pregnancy, and that requires you slowing down, which can be really hard for a lot of us. Then another reason why you want to join Queen Alchemy, like everybody should just join the program. Basically, it's literally for everybody. So the full conception guide is in there. So this podcast episode is really about boosting fertility for conception, so that you can be a healthy mother and also have a healthy baby from a physical standpoint. I am also doing a lot of energetic, mental, and emotional things as well to prepare myself, my body, my nervous system, and my business. And actually, in a new episode, in a new module that I'll be dropping in the Feminine CEO, I'm talking all about this. I'm actually going to be filming it for you guys, hopefully in Lake Como. And I think we're going to do it in a really like aligned way, as in it's aligned with the topic of the class, which is everything that I have done to prepare my business for motherhood, and also to prepare my business to take 6 weeks off for my wedding. And I'm going to be telling you everything that I've done in that. So I think that I want to do it live for you guys rather than recorded. So I'm kind of meeting in the middle by what I'll do is share with you the date that it will be recorded live on, but then I won't know the actual time because it's actually going to be the first day that we're in Lake Como for like our pre-wedding time. So because I'm like technically on break, I'm going to stay in flow by letting you guys know that we'll be filming in like an hour before, rather than feeling like, oh my God, I'm stuck to this time if I'm not feeling the full vibes, and then like rushing and stressing. Like we are having no stress on this trip. So if we are delayed, I don't have to worry about it because you guys are going to show up if you can. And that, like, if you're in the Feminine CEO, you're going to show up if you can. And if you can't, you'll get the recording. And of course, I'll leave a question box as well. So those of you that, can't just kind of be on standby, will get your questions answered. So the Feminine CEO, I'm talking more about like the business, the mental, the emotional, the nervous system stuff that I've been doing that's supporting me in this change in my business. But today I'm giving you guys more of the physical things. Now, I no doubt will be doing an episode in the future about the energetic things and the environmental things in terms of like energetic environment that I am doing and we are doing to prepare for going into this new season when it comes. But I can't talk about everything in one episode because we'll be here for 3 hours. So today we are focusing on the physical things. Just a reminder, friends, a little disclaimer that this episode should be used for informational purposes only. This is obviously general advice that I am giving based on research. If you want, go and do your own research, go and come to your own conclusions. And of course, contact a holistic health professional. I obviously recommend holistic. Go to a functional medicine doctor or your naturopath to get customized, specific answers for yourself and recommendations. I've also linked in the show notes a blog post that talks about a lot of what I talked about today, and it also links the research too. So if you want to look at the research, you can. And of course, Google is your friend. If you type in whatever you want, like, liver boost fertility, for example, and then type in Google Scholar at the end, little uni hack for those of you that maybe don't remember those things from university or didn't go to university, type in Google Scholar after. What will then come up is research for you to then dive in and do your own digging about. But of course, it is always best to go and work with a holistic practitioner and get your bloods done so that you know what you're doing is absolutely perfect for your body. Because when I'm sitting here doing a podcast, it is obviously general for all of you. I do not know every single person's case. And even when you guys send me an email, I'm like, I can't help you because I don't know your bloods. I don't know your specific case, and all that information is really, really important. All right, let's dive in. So, number one, ladies, it is more, and by the way, this episode is for men and women. So, everyone needs this episode, okay? Often we can think, we put all the pressure on ourselves, ladies, if we are the ones that have to do all of the work preconception. We're the ones that are then going to, determine whether we have a miscarriage, whether we have a healthy baby, a healthy pregnancy. There is a lot on him as well. If you have, damaged sperm, for example, with DNA fragmentation, that can cause a miscarriage. And it's not you, that's him. So it's both parties that need to be involved in the preconception phase. And if your man is like, oh, I don't want to be doing blah, 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 you know what you say to him? Babe, just give me like 5 months of effort, because once you put that bun in the oven, your work is done, right? I'm then the one that has to grow the baby for the next 9 months and then feed the baby and recover my body and all that. So all I need from you is like 5, 6, a little bit more if you can, months of being good so we can have good sperm, and then your job is done. Like, can you do that for me? I could just kind of like, remind him of, he only has to do this for like 6 months. You are doing this for much longer than that. Okay. All right. So for anyone that needs help in getting your man on board. So it is more than possible to boost your egg health, your sperm health, and your AMH levels. Most errors that happen in the eggs, so like chromosomal errors, they happen in the months before ovulation, not the years before, not 30 years ago, anything like that. What this means is that you can improve your egg health. So just remember that natural conception, it's not reliant on you having a bajillion eggs available at any given time at that specific time. Sorry, I recorded an episode before this and my words are just not connecting today. It's not just about having a bajillion eggs available at that one time when you guys are having sex to then fall pregnant. It's about having one good egg at that time of ovulation so that there is a higher possibility of getting pregnant and, of course, then holding the pregnancy. Okay. So even if you have quote unquote low AMH, I do feel like that marker is starting to like freak people out a little bit. Maybe it's freaking them into action, which is a good thing, but I'm also like, be aware of that. It also can cause fear, which then causes stagnation in the body, in the energy, like in your energy in your body. And that stagnation is the opposite of the energy of creation. You don't want stagnation in your body when you're trying to conceive, especially if you're struggling. So be aware of like putting too much fear in your mind. Sometimes you just need to tell yourself what you want to know, not what you don't want to know. So even if you have quote unquote low AMH, you can still fall pregnant, right? So it's making sure that you know your day of ovulation, that you have healthy eggs, that you have healthy sperm that you're working with. It's all these other little factors. So it's kind of like, I feel like sometimes we overcomplicate fertility, but we also realize that it's not just have sex whenever and then fall pregnant. We don't need to like really overcomplicate it, but we also need to remember that there are a lot of factors that go into easily being able to fall pregnant. And that's the goal for all of us, right? Is to easily be able to fall pregnant and then have a healthy pregnancy and have an easeful pregnancy if possible. And then also making sure we have a healthy baby. And so I know for a lot of people, morning sickness is a really big fear that they have. And that fear can then, especially if you've had morning sickness before, that fear can then be a driving factor in your body being like, no, and having that closed off energy to then falling pregnant again. What's interesting is, and I honestly haven't looked up to see whether there's any research behind it, but I'm sure there is all of my clients that have fallen pregnant that were on the prenatals and I'll suggest them to you in a second, that were on prenatals, that were doing all of the good conception things beforehand. So their body was essentially like really fucking ready. They had heaps of like nutrients in their body. They didn't get morning sickness. And I honestly, and like previous pregnancies for even them, they weren't doing anything for it. And then they got really bad morning sickness. And I'm like, I know that plenty of people say I did the exact same thing for every pregnancy and I got such bad morning sickness on my second pregnancy. Like it was so random, blah, blah, blah. So I know that, there probably isn't like this is what's going to prevent morning sickness from happening. But I wanted to just let you guys know that, like, you know, from a standpoint of like the stories that I've or the clients that I've worked with and the stories that I've heard, I'm like, there's a common thread. So all the more reason to really make sure that you are upping your nutrients before you fall pregnant, because if that does reduce your chance of morning sickness, then that's amazing. Because B vitamins is like a quote unquote, not I mean not a cure, but it's a quote unquote helps morning sickness when you have morning sickness. So I'm like, okay, well, if you're really upping your B vitamins before you feel pregnant, I wonder if that does then reduce the morning sickness. And this is what I'm seeing, like, and so I'm telling you guys it more from like a story point of view. Anyway, so I'm going to go through all the things that we are doing and that we've already done, to be honest, and that I recommend that you make sure that you are doing if you are wanting to have healthy conception and easy conception. Number one, cleaning up your environment, your household, your makeup, like household products, your makeup, your skincare, your water, your, gut health, getting your labs tested. Do you have heavy metals in your body? All of those things, like clean up your environment, not just the environment around you that you sit in your house, but your energetic environment and your physical environment, like your actual physical body. Clean it up. Make sure your gut health is good. Make sure your nutrient stores are amazing. And let me tell you, not to like scare anybody, but I am very healthy, as I would say most of you guys know. I take my supplements and I've been healthy for a very, very long time. I haven't been healthy for 6 months. I've been healthy for honestly my whole life. I've grown up in an environment I'm very grateful with a lot of home cooked food. We never did takeout. My parents never cooked with vegetable oil. It was always a low sugar kind of environment. I definitely had phases where I wasn't like, I didn't have the education, more so before the age of 18 when I went on my gap year. And then I really like learned about all of this stuff, which I talked about in the episode I recently did about food and like what I eat in a day kind of thing. So I'm very grateful that I've grown up in this environment. And I went to get my labs done maybe 6 months ago or 4 months ago or something at the time that you're listening to this, maybe 5 months ago. And I was really surprised for somebody that takes supplements, that eats very well. I eat meat, I eat very clean meat. Like I reduce my stress as much as possible, all that kind of stuff. I was very surprised at my lab. So I went to get a very comprehensive lab test that basically tells you what your like glutathione levels are, what your vitamin D is, your vitamin C, your omega 3s, your omega 6s, heavy metals, all of it. It's expensive and it's worth doing. So I got that done and a lot of it was like amazing, right? So in terms of I was well above the average and kind of a healthy marker for B vitamins, for example. For vitamin C, I was a little bit low, which I was so surprised about because I take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, liquid vitamin C every single day. But what this allowed me to see was, wow, even though I'm taking all of these things and doing all of these things, and I have been for a long time, if I didn't have perfect bloods, then imagine what the average person has if they were to go and get this blood test done. Like concerning, if you ask me. So if you can, go to get this blood test done. Because what it also helps you to understand, for example, like with my vitamin C being low, I was like, that's interesting because I take vitamin C every single day. I wonder if I'm not absorbing it. So I'm really making sure that I'm taking my gut powder every day, which I give you guys all the gut protocol and the gut powder that I use in the gut and skin master classes. So make sure that you get them, the healing classes, I should say, sorry, before they expire. I don't think they haven't expired by the time this episode's come out. Make sure that you get that. But I've just really made sure that I've then knuckled down on my gut health, because even though my gut feels amazing, obviously it's not because I'm not absorbing all of my nutrients perfectly. If I am taking all of these things, but my bloods are still kind of not showing it. So everything, like, most things were great, but my glutathione, for example, was really low. That's not a good thing. Your glutathione is your body's master antioxidant. So that helped me to know, right, I need to up my glutathione levels for my egg health and just for my overall like inflammation, antioxidant levels, et cetera, et cetera. So, going to get your bloods done to then get this information does help you just get it done early enough so you're not stressing about, oh my God, it's too late kind of thing. But why I was telling you guys that was because if I didn't have perfect bloods, and been doing this for a very long time, it helps me to realize like everyone needs to be doing what I'm about to be giving you guys before you fall pregnant. If you can, minimum 6 months. Minimum, in my mind, absolute minimum 6 months. If you can, a year or two, seriously. So we've been doing like our quote unquote conception plan for, I guess, like 6 months ish at this point. And I'm really like knuckling down on the other half. Love him, knuckling down on the other half. But I have been really, really diligent, and I could obviously be even more diligent. But I am also like not, putting all this pressure on myself, because that's also not going to help with energy components of healthy conception and easy conception. Anyway, so clean up your environment. The household products that we use are all on my favorite products page so that you can get them yourself. If you live in another country and you can't get these products, I know Branch Basics, you can't get it overseas. I wonder if Levant you can though. That one's on my favorite products page as well. You just want to be looking up. You don't want to be just getting like an eco-friendly, like natural. Like just because it says natural does not mean it's fucking natural. You need to be going to an online shop that is not your grocery store and buying something from there that clearly says no endocrine disruptors, non-toxic, no phthalates. Like that is what you want. No fragrances. If you look in the label and it says fragrance, put that fucking thing back down and do not buy it. You need to be looking for things that say like lavender essential oil, tea tree essential oil, clary sage essential oil, not fragrance. No fragrances. Okay. So that, because like a lot of fragrances are toxic, they are endocrine disruptors. There's a lot of research that not only shows how incredibly bad and destructive phthalates are on sperm health and egg health, but are really bad on sperm health. It also is showing how bad they are in the development for children and then going on in their lives. And like, we still are really only at the beginning of seeing the damage of phthalates. So imagine what the research is going to come out with in 30, 40 years. And that will be like a fully grown adult. But obviously, that the health of that fully grown adult is also determined on what is happening in utero. So really making sure that you are cleaning things up beforehand, because I'm very big on, if you want to be a parent, you have like an obligation. You have an obligation, you have a responsibility to give your child the healthiest environment for it to thrive, for him or her to thrive, because not it, him or her to thrive, because they have no like control, no say over what happens in utero. Like that's all on you. And I just think about for myself, like I never want to feel, if my child was sick or if there was, complications or whatever, I just personally don't want to feel like I could have done something more. I just want to know that I've done everything I can. So I'm not going balls to the wall, like super anal and like, micromanaging myself, because that is also not healthy. That is not healthy. But I am making sure that I am actually doing my best. Okay. And, you listening to this podcast and then implementing it, that is doing your best. You just blowing off the podcast, that is not you doing your best. So clean up your environment. Use non-toxic makeup. The brands that I use are on my favorite products page as well. Everything is there. If you live in the US, look at Credo. They are in New York, but they're also online. RMS, great brand. They also are stocked in, I'm very sure, Europe and also Australia. Great brand. RMS, Ilia, amazing mascara, amazing blush. Westman Atelier, they have also all non-toxic products. Pretty sure that you can buy them in Australia. Yes, you can. My mom buys them. You can buy them in Australia. Don't know about Europe, but RMS is pretty much everywhere. So really making sure that you are cleaning up your makeup, your skincare, same thing. No phthalates, no toxic chemicals, no endocrine disruptors, men and women. Often we put all of this on women. We think, oh, women need this because we're the one growing the baby in our body, but we're growing the baby with the seed that you fucking gave us. So if the seed you gave us is shit, like you aren't helping. So really making sure that your man is also cleaning up his skincare as well, not just using the natural, the organic. Like that doesn't mean anything. It's like when people it's like when people are on the pill but having organic chicken. I'm like, just eat the fucking farm chicken because you're on the pill anyway. So don't think that because it says organic or because it says natural that it's okay. It's not necessarily okay. So whatever skincare you're using, he can be using as well. That's just the easiest way. You buy some for yourself, you buy some for him. There you go, babe. Making sure that you're drinking filtered water. If you look at EWG online and go EWG water, you'll type in your postal code and you will see the shit in the water of where you live. And it is something that honestly, you probably don't, I would honestly suggest not Googling that until you get filtered water put in your house. Yes, it is expensive, but I do believe it's worth it, especially if you're bringing a baby into that house and the baby is going to be bathing in that water. If your baby is bathing in hard water, that could be causing then problems for their skin and for their body as well, because your skin is your largest organ. You are then absorbing all of the shit in the water, all the heavy metals, all the plastics, like all the little microplastics that you can't obviously see with your eye, all of the pharmaceuticals. You are literally absorbing that into your bloodstream. The thing we have to remember with our skin is that our skin, once it goes on our skin, it goes straight into our bloodstream. It doesn't go through our liver. At least if you eat something that has shit in it, your liver can detoxify it to an extent before it goes through to the rest of your body. But with skin, it can't. So it's like, if you can't eat that, don't put it on your skin. So getting filtered water is really, really important. And at the very minimum, drinking filtered water as well. Get your labs tested too. Especially if you're in Europe, guys, you have hard water. You have a lot of copper. In Australia, the same. A lot of Australia has copper pipes. If you have copper pipes, you want to get that shit tested in your bloods because that can be leading to heavy metal issues. So not exactly a good thing. Making sure that you're also looking at your adrenals and your thyroid, like really make sure that your thyroid and not just your THS levels, because that doesn't actually tell you anything. You really want to be looking at your reverse, your T3, T2, reverse T3, reverse T2. If you're only looking at your THS, it's not telling you enough. You want to make sure that your thyroid is good because your baby essentially takes half your thyroid. So if your thyroid's already shit to begin with, it's going to get worse after you have a baby. So making sure that's also in check, that your adrenals are in check as well. Because like if you are struggling to get good sleep now, God help you when you're a mom. So making sure those things are also in check. And just remember, like you're not just this isn't just working like in your favor for conception. This is also about postpartum. So many women forget that. They forget that the health that they are working on right now is also going to help them postpartum, especially if they have a rough pregnancy and they can't keep like eating healthy and taking supplements and whatever else during pregnancy. Like you want those nutrient stores ready to rock so that you are doing okay postpartum. I do really believe that a lot of women are struggling with the postpartum depression because of nutrient deficiencies and births that were traumatic. I know that for a fact with dealing with clients. The amount of times that the postpartum depression is actually related to their body, them not feeling safe, them not getting the birth that they wanted, and not just the birth that they wanted, because that can happen sometimes, but them not feeling like they actually even got a say. They didn't voice, they didn't get to process what was happening. It was traumatic, and they didn't then go and heal that trauma. And so that's then affecting them postpartum, because if you're a mom, or if you're not a mom, I mean, if you're a mom, you know this. If you're not a mom, just an little FYI, you don't get any recovery, right? You give birth and now there is no recovery for your body. You don't get like some like week of rest before you then become a mom. You're now moving on to the next thing, learning how to breastfeed, taking care of a baby. Like your body is now, given to this child. And so what that can mean is that women do not get the opportunity to then heal from the birth they didn't get to have. And then that can then also affect postpartum depression. So that was a tangent. My point is please make sure that you are boosting your nutrients now, not just focusing on conception and pregnancy, but you're also thinking about yourself postpartum, because we often forget about our future self in that postpartum experience. Other things, use glass over plastic, please. There is a ton of research, like I said, showing how bad the effects are of phthalates on sperm, on egg health, on the baby's health. I am not perfect. I use plastic when we're traveling. Like, I'm not going to not drink the water because it's in plastic, but just do the best that you can. Where possible, use glass, not plastic. At home, only have glass like containers to put your food in, to put it in the fridge. Only drink out of glass. When you are going to the coffee shop, bring your own thermos so that you're getting your drink put in a thermos, not in a takeaway coffee mug that's actually lined with plastic that is leaking. Don't use tea bags if possible. A lot of tea bags are leaking microplastics because a lot of tea bags have microplastic in it, or they're the plastic tea bags, even worse. They are leaking so much. When you, oh my God, don't Google this, but if you want to Google it, when you Google how much plastic is getting leaked into your tea and then you're drinking that or into your coffee, like, oh my God, dear God. So we're like, those little things are really big, that are just, it's small changes that have a really, really big impact, that it's worth doing. Because again, it's just that peace of mind of knowing I did everything that I could to have, to have an easy conception, or as easy as possible, and to have a healthy pregnancy and postpartum. You just want to know you did everything you could. Okay. Okay, so let's go through some of the nutrients that you need to make sure that you are getting. Of course, getting these from food is optimal, but we also need to remember that the food quality is really shit these days, especially in the US. The soil in, the nutrients in our soil aren't what they used to be. Our soil is very nutrient deficient, so we should also be supplementing. And not just relying on food. Okay. And this is why I'm also saying go and get your bloods done, because if you're really, really, really low on like vitamin A, for example, or glutathione, like don't be relying on getting that from food. Also be getting supplements. Actually, vitamin A is different. I'll go into that in a second, but make sure you're also getting it from supplements. Okay. So fat. Fat is essential for mitochondrial health in your eggs. Cholesterol actually itself plays a very important role in the development of your baby, and it's required for hormone synthesis in your body and also your baby. It's very important in every single cell of your body and your baby's body. So making sure that you are actually eating cholesterol. Our body doesn't make cholesterol. We eat the cholesterol. So making sure that you're eating enough cholesterol. Just this was a little thing that I didn't know until I knew it. And then I was like, wow, this just helps put in perspective, like how important egg health is, and like mitochondrial health in our eggs. The egg is the queen, right? Of course she is. She is the queen. A mature egg has 100,000 mitochondria, which is more than the heart. An egg, the tiny little fucking egg that you like can't even see with your eyes, has 100,000 mitochondria, which is more than the heart. Each heart muscle cell contains 5,000 and between 5,000 and 8,000 mitochondria. Big difference. We're talking about cells here. The mature egg, 100,000. A heart muscle cell, which is the thing that keeps us fucking alive every day, between 5,000 to 8,000. So it's like we need to up that mitochondrial health in your eggs and give them some TLC. Not just about the physical health, it's also about the energetic health. If you haven't listened to my podcast about like energetic reasons for period issues, endo, and infertility, make sure you listen to that, because even if you don't have like infertility issues, they're really good things to know to ensure that you're getting your best energy like down in that space, and then you don't end up struggling to actually conceive. Okay. So nutrients that are really important to up: choline, vitamin A, glycine. And actually with glycine is an amino acid, and it becomes what's called conditionally essential during pregnancy. This basically means that you must consume it directly for an optimally healthy pregnancy. You can't just be like thinking, oh, I'm getting enough glycine. Like you need to purposely be making sure that you are getting glycine. This amino acid is very important in the formation of DNA, healthy organs, connective tissue, bones, blood vessels, skin, joints, literally everything. Plus, it is required to fuel the growth of your uterus, your placenta, and your stretching skin. So glycine. It is not abundant in lean meat or like fucking chicken breast with no skin, or dairy products, or vegetarian sources of protein. Not abundant. The reliable sources of glycine are bone broth and slow cooked meat with the bone in and the skin on, in like meat and like red meat and poultry. So something that we are doing a lot of is I am slow cooking as much as possible. Even though we're in the middle of summer, I'll slow cook like a whole chicken, for example, and then I'll pull all the meat and the skin and everything off the chicken and then throw it in a salad. It's fucking delicious. So I am slow cooking all the time. I'm not slow cooking stews right now, because it's fucking boiling where we are right now. But I am slow cooking the actual meat and then roasting the veggies and putting the two together. Okay. So please make sure that you are slow cooking and that you are eating bone broth. Vitamin C. I also recommend with vitamin C, and with as many vitamins as possible, taking them in a liquid form that's more bioavailable to your body, so you're going to absorb more of it. The vitamin C that I take is from Symbiotica, and we finally, after asking them for like a bajillion years, have a link and a discount code for you guys. Holly fucking Luya. So we're going to put that below as well. I use their vitamin C. I've been using that for ages. Their magnesium, their super greens, their elderberry, their charcoal, they have like a brain one. They have a great vitamin D3 and K2. I use their pump. It's liquid. I'm going to go through all these in a second. So get vitamin C, 1,000 milligrams a day. But heck, if you get your bloods done and you're low on vitamin C, up it, right? Just if you start to shit your brains out, lower it a little bit. Take it back to 1,000 milligrams. Zinc. Zinc is really important for sperm health and also for egg health. And for the healthy development of the follicle coming around into the egg. So lots of zinc. All the B vitamins. And make sure with your zinc, if you are not taking a prenatal and you're only taking zinc, because you don't want everything in the prenatal or whatever it is, because sometimes people are like, oh, I don't need everything in this prenatal because I have an abundant of like B12, for example. So you're kind of like just taking more specific supplements. Make sure with zinc that the zinc also has a little bit of copper in it, because your zinc to copper ratio in your body is really, really important. Again, your bloods are important to look at on this because you might have too much copper, for example, depending on heavy metals. But nonetheless, is the Symbiotica zinc has a little bit of copper in it, and the zinc to copper ratio is really great. So a little FYI, all the B vitamins, D3 and K2. So I was saying Symbiotica has a really great D3 and K2. So vitamin D has been shown to have a astonishing effect on both your actual pregnancy and birth, but also on the conception success. In fact, women with low ovarian reserve, which is like, low AMH levels, for example, they often see an improvement when they increase their vitamin D level. Just make sure that it's with K2. That's how the vitamin D actually gets into the cells and absorbed properly. So, and also sitting outside in the sun is really important. Okay. So vitamin vitamin D3 and K2. And then also choline, folate. We've all heard of folate. And then with the B vitamins, really make sure that your partner, your man, is like really taking enough B vitamins. I will say, especially with the vitamin A, liver is by far the best thing to be starting to eat in this period, and then even during pregnancy as well. Ounce by ounce, liver contains up to 200 times more vitamin B12 than muscle meat does, and it has an abundance of vitamin A. Now, because you're physically eating it, you're not going to overdose on like vitamin A. Also, the research on that is very outdated and actually bullshit if you read it. There's been a lot of conversation now about it. It's a known thing that this whole like concern of like, don't have too much vitamin A, don't have too much vitamin A, because of like birth defects. It's actually pretty much a lie. Of course, you could have too much vitamin A and then it could cause birth defects, but the reality is that most people are actually low on vitamin A, and vitamin A is very, very important in a healthy pregnancy, and more importantly, the growth of your baby. So vitamin A is very important. I love to get the abundance of vitamin A from liver because my body is, one, able to absorb it very easily, but more importantly, it's in balance with all the other nutrients. And liver is one of the most nutrient dense sources of meat and like organ meat that is amazing pre-pregnancy. So if you want to start cooking liver, I don't like it, but this is how I do it. So you can do it in a slow cooker, or you can just do it in like a fry pan. I make spaghetti bolognese with liver. So basically I'll do 50% mincemeat, 50% liver. You can also start with like 20-80 kind of things, so like 20% liver, 80% mince. I put it in the slow cooker because one, it's just easier. And two, the liver basically just melts away like butter. And so I just end up mushing it all in. I put heaps of garlic, heaps of herbs, heaps of onion, lots of tomato pasta sauce, and then it cooks all day. And I just give it like a good mush and a mash, and I mush in all of the liver. Don't even know that it's there. I used to cook it in fry pans. Also didn't know that it was there. It was amazing. If you have a good butcher, I have struggled to find one here. They will mince the chicken liver for you. So it's already minced in with the meat, and then no one will even know that it's there. It will just look a little bit bloodier than usual. That's it. So in Australia, where you can buy great meat everywhere, they would just mush the two together for me, and it was awesome. What was I going to say on that? Really make sure, of course, that you are getting super high quality chicken liver. I say chicken because chicken liver is less of like a pungent taste than beef liver. Get really high quality grass fed, organic, sorry, not grass fed, pasture raised organic. And if you can, obviously get it from the farmer itself. So you know that it's not loaded with toxic shit, because obviously you're eating the liver, which is why they detox the toxins. So anyone that isn't already eating liver, I would highly recommend starting to eat liver. And then you know that you're going to be also getting enough vitamin A. And really quickly on the note of vitamin A, before I keep moving on, is 1/3 of pregnant women don't consume enough vitamin A. And when you look at what vitamin A is actually important for in regards to building a healthy child, it's everything. So you want to make sure that you are getting enough vitamin A. And if you're getting it from a food source, you're not going to overdose on vitamin A. So anyone that's still worried because they're still, influenced by that marketing bullshit from years ago, like that study is not even legit. It's been debunked a million times by now. But if it's still on your mind, if your functional medicine doctor, if your doctor has said don't have too much vitamin A, don't eat liver, you can know it's bullshit. Like, do your own research and you'll be able to easily find how it's bullshit. But then also number two is then eat it from a food source. If you look up the study, basically the study was done with a synthetic vitamin A, and so it linked a high dose of synthetic vitamin A to birth defects. However, we now know that naturally occurring vitamin A does not cause this kind of toxicity, especially when it's consumed with all the other nutrients like vitamin D and vitamin K2 that's also found in liver. My point is that if you go to a doctor in the US and it's like, don't eat this, don't eat this, don't eat this, don't eat this, I'm like, just raise an eyebrow and do your own research and do some reading. There's plenty of books out there now that talk about this, plenty of research. Sometimes I'm just like, look at Europe. They're crushing it. We're doing everything wrong over here in the US. I mean, I'm Australian, so I feel like I get to kind of weasel my way out of it. But my point is don't listen to everything with a grain of salt and do your own research that you feel the most comfortable in your pregnancy. Because if somebody told me I couldn't eat prosciutto anymore, I'd be like, no, you didn't just say that. Because I love prosciutto. Anyway, moving on. Iodine is also another really, really important nutrient that's very important for you to have for your thyroid. Obviously, that's then important for pregnancy and all that kind of stuff. Most of the time in the prenatals, you'll have the iodine. Best form of iodine, though, in food is seaweed. So you can be eating some seaweed if you want to as well. Iron, obviously, is super important. So making sure that you are eating plenty of meat, plenty of red meat, plenty of slow cooked meat. Obviously, that chicken liver is really going to help as well with your iron. So if you're low on iron, just start eating chicken liver and things will improve very, very drastically. And obviously, you want to make sure that your gut health is good, so you're absorbing all of it. Okay. Did I say zinc? I can't remember. But coming back to zinc with sperm health, I think I already said this, but maybe whatever. I'll say it again. Zinc is very important for increasing semen volume, sperm motility, which is very, very important, and the percentage of normal sperm. We'll go into that in a second about like the whole normal sperm and not normal sperm and making sure that you're having like the highest percentage of normal healthy sperm without like DNA fragmentation in a second. But zinc is really important for your men to be taking as well, not just you. All of these things are important. But when I'm talking about something like, glycine for your growing uterus. They don't have a growing uterus, right? They still should be having glycine. It's still very important for them and it's still very important for their sperm health, but they don't need the same amount that we do. You know what I mean? So you should be really making sure that you're having all the bone broth, that you're, getting all the chicken skin and all that kind of stuff and kind of leaving less for him. Okay. And then I think we all know this one, but omega-3 fatty acids is really important. Your man should be taking a higher dose than you need to be taking. So for example, I'm taking about 1,000 milligrams a day. He's taking about 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams a day, because the omega-3 is really important for the protection of the sperm. We obviously need the omega-3 for growing our baby's brain and all that kind of stuff, but they need like a higher amount to then really target that healthy sperm, and then they can lower it again if they want to afterwards, because then they've put the bun in the oven and now they can just focus on their own health, not just the health of your future child. Okay, CoQ10, really important for us ladies, but also very, very important for the men as well. It is very hard to get enough via food, especially when your focus right now is boosting that egg health and boosting that sperm health. So make sure that you're taking a very good quality one. Fullwell, which is the brand that I recommend for prenatals, they have a fertility booster which has it in it. I have looked at a lot of prenatals, and like the fucking brands that the influencers promote with like the discount code that every influencer is like, yeah, I use this one, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. I looked at the ingredients and like how much of each nutrient was in it, and I was fucking appalled. I'm like, we are promoting this. And you know what I was actually more appalled by is that my functional medicine doctor, which I'm not going back to see, she literally recommended this one to me. And I was like, I kind of felt a bit funny about it, because I was like, really? Like this one that everyone's on Instagram about giving discount codes? Like I find that hard to believe. And I went home and I sat in bed for like 4 hours, like literally in a rabbit hole researching this. Oh my God. Just all I'm going to say is Fullwell is the best one to go with, but you need to also be taking more choline on the side. So I'll give you that in a second. We'll put the links below too, ladies, so that you can just like click the links. So Fullwell is like third party tested, very, very, very heavily tested. Every single batch they do is tested before it goes on the shelves and gets sent to you, which is amazing. Tested for heavy metals and like all those little things that can end up finding their way into supplements, which you don't obviously want. But I love the amount of each different nutrient in the actual supplement. For example, what I like is that their vitamin A isn't like out of control high, which I like because I'm eating chicken liver. So I'm like, great, I can get more of my vitamin A off the chicken liver, and then I can get a little bit extra through the supplement. So anyway, I personally recommend the Fullwell. They also have this fertility booster, which has NAC. It has the CoQ10. It also has ashwagandha in it. And CoQ10 and NAC have been shown to have really positive effects for conception, health, egg quality, sperm quality, etc. Both men and women can take the fertility booster. So we take that, highly recommend, and it has a good amount of CoQ10 and also a really great amount of NAC. And it can be hard to find a good quality NAC that's got a high amount. The supplements aren't cheap. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Why would you even put a price on the health of your future child and also your own health? So CoQ10, really, really good for sperm motility. And it's also really good at improving fertility in women, especially moving out of childbearing age. That was some of the research done on it, but obviously great for everybody. And CoQ10 is also a really important part of our antioxidant production, which is also then obviously important for preserving the egg health and not having a pile of oxidative damage, et cetera, to our health. So Fullwell, Fullwell, I think it's how you spell it, is the prenatals that we take. And we also take the fertility booster as well. Highly recommend. Again, like I don't have any we don't have any fertility issues. We're not trying yet or anything like that. But again, it's just we're doing everything we can now, so that we just know that we've done everything we can when the time comes that we actually want to start trying, which is a whole conversation in and of itself, because I feel like, anyway, I did an episode semi recently about the plans coming up and la la la. And we will cross that bridge once we get married. But we had such a great little trip to Europe in the middle of the year. And I'm like, wait, if I fall pregnant on this time, then I'm not going to be able to do this next year. And I'm like, so what I've really done is just taken away the control. I'm leaving it up to the universe of when the right time is for us to fall pregnant. And I will share details as they come. You guys know I'm open and transparent. I'll share details as they come. But I was kind of like, oh, I don't know whether I want to be giving birth in the middle of summer. That does not sound like a vibe, especially because I run so hot as it is. So anyway, TBC on that one. So CoQ10. Coming back to choline, which I don't think I've mentioned much, 94% of women don't consume enough choline. So really making sure that you are upping choline. again, it's the slow cooked meats. So everybody buy a fucking slow cooker. Okay, the recommended slow cooker as well that is not full of fucking toxic chemicals and forever chemicals. Because if you get even a ceramic one, I'm kind of like, if you get a slow cooker, most of them are what's the word, non-stick, or they're ceramic. I have a stainless steel. We have a stainless steel slow cooker, and I love it. Love it. I also love it because it's like a pot that you can put on the stove so you can brown the meat beforehand and then whack it on the slow cooker. It's simple. It's not high tech. It's just fucking easy. Sometimes the more technology, the more of a nightmare it is. The link to that is also on my favorite products page as well. So I would recommend getting that one so that you don't have shit leaching into your food. Okay, so everyone up their choline levels, lots and lots of slow cooked meats. Vitamin E has been shown to also improve sperm health and sperm motility in men, which obviously we love. And then I kind of already said this. So you really want to be boosting your antioxidants, your NAC, your glutathione to preserve egg health and basically just like write off any oxidative damage. The glutathione that I take is in the conception guide. Highly recommend a liquid glutathione because obviously it's more bioavailable. And I am a glutathione. I'm taking a lot of glutathione right now because that was one thing that was surprisingly extremely low, which is not good. That was quite low on, and it's probably because like, I don't know, I'm often stressed, I guess. Yeah, so I've been making sure that I take that and also just upping my antioxidants where possible. Um, and it's hard because I eat so healthy. So when I'm like, I'm low in fucking glutathione, I'm like, are you serious? I'm always thinking antioxidants, but that just proved like we live in a world that just causes a lot of oxidative damage, obviously, or my lifestyle unfortunately causes a lot of oxidative damage to me. But I also have to factor in that I've never gotten my glutathione tested. And I wonder whether it isn't a result of my ski accident and lockdown and COVID stress causing like a really big plummet in antioxidants levels because of how stressed I was. So I'm glad I found that out so I could be taking all of the glutathione before we even start thinking about trying. Okay. Oh, on the note of NAC, actually, NAC, there was actually a study that was done in Italy, of course, that found that women with endo taking NAC for 3 months meant that a third of the patients ended up canceling their endo surgeries because that's how much of an improvement there was. So just saying, NAC. Okay. All right. In terms of omega-3, we take Nordic Naturals. They are an incredible brand for omega-3. Again, third party tested. Um, and like wild caught fish, not fucking farmed fish for their omega-3. So Nordic Naturals is the one that we take, and they don't give me like, sometimes you take an omega-3 and then you kind of have like the hiccups and you have like a fish taste in your mouth. Ugh. They don't give me that. They don't make me feel nauseous either. I've taken other omega-3s before and they make me really nauseous. These ones do not. In terms of fertility boosting herbs, for those of you that are really wanting to kind of up the ante as well and take some fertility boosting herbs, I recommend PK's Herbs. I actually know the guy very well. He's coming to our wedding, that created PK's Herbs. And so fully trust him like with my life. He's amazing. He's just, he's great. And he has some really amazing herbs on there. I've actually recommended a lot of them to my clients as well. I have a link for you guys and a discount code. We'll put that below too. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention as well, which I don't think a lot of people know about, but I was reading research and this is a thing, and it's like all good according to the research, is red light therapy on your womb space, like on your ovaries as well. So red light therapy, the frequency of the red light helps boost mitochondrial function, reduce inflammation, cell turnover, increase cell turnover, all that kind of stuff. So all the good things, right? And it's really boosting mitochondria. And so I have started using red lights, a few times a week on my womb space, which I'm just like, yeah, vibes, because one, the heat from the red light that I use the Loom box. I have a discount code as well for that. The heat that penetrates off it, because it's infrared and red light. It's infrared and what's the other red light called? I don't know. But it's two forms of red light. And so there's a little bit of heat. It kind of gets warm, which is great because you want to make sure there is blood flowing to your womb space. Very, very important for your um, womb health, your ovaries, and in traditional Chinese medicine, which I like fucking love TCM, they're all about like chi energy and not having stagnation and blah, blah, blah. And if your womb is really cold, or if even your stomach area, if you struggle with digestive issues, if you have painful periods, like it could be because you don't have enough warmth and blood flow to this area, which can be from like a physical standpoint, a result of things, but also energetically, that can be because you're very disconnected from your body and disconnected from your feminine energy. So it can cause a lot of coldness around this area. So the red light's also great because you're getting that warmth, that blood flow to your womb space too, which I also love. So I've been doing red light therapy on my womb space a few times a week. Your man can also do it on his sperm. There was actually a bunch of research. It was fucking wild. It was something like they did red light therapy on like men's scrotums, and within hours there was improvement. It was hours or it was days, one of the two, but like something absolutely crazy. When I was researching it about a month ago, I should have looked it up before I did the episode, but I don't script these out, so I hadn't even thought about it. Anyway, so there is research that had showed that the only thing is if you're doing the red light therapy, if your man is doing it, he cannot have the red light device like on him. Like you can have it sitting on your skin, he cannot have it sitting on his skin because the heat is really bad for for sperm. So another thing for guys is to reduce things that cause heat down in that area, because it kills off sperm and it can cause like DNA fragmentation, not good for it. So even limiting like saunas, limiting jacuzzis and whatnot close to that time where you want to start conceiving, or like putting an ice pack literally down on your balls when you're in the sauna, especially if your man loves the sauna, which my man loves the sauna, but the ice is kind of like a little bit of a hack to keep that area really to keep that area colder. That's why they're outside of your body, because they are a few degrees they're, oh my God, I can't even speak right now. Whatever. They're a lower temperature than in your body. That's why they hang outside, not inside, right? Whereas our ovaries are inside. They want warmth. Our womb wants warmth. They need to be a little bit cooler so they don't all die. So if there's a lot of heat down there, that's also not good. So my point is that the red light therapy would be great for him, but just making sure that you have the red light device a little bit further away so that area of his body isn't getting hot. Okay. The other thing that I'm going to mention is I don't know if there's a shitload of research on this, but there definitely is research, and I've definitely heard it on podcasts and like conversations and whatnot with sperm. So you don't want your man never finishing and then only finishing on the day of ovulation, because there is research that shows that the longer the sperm sits inside of him, the more DNA fragmentation occurs, which can then cause miscarriages and just like obviously struggling to conceive because that there isn't enough sperm it's like strong enough to then try and reach the egg and then get inside the egg and that kind of stuff. And the data shows that the newer the sperm, the better it is and the less DNA damage that it has. So this doesn't mean that he needs to be ejaculating daily, because that's not also good, because that's a constant energy release, which isn't good. Like you want to make sure that he's keeping that energy in his body, and not just constantly releasing his life force energy, his chi energy, but also making sure that he's not like never finishing and then finishing in you and you're hoping to fall pregnant that month. So when I was kind of reading everything, I'm like, okay, so also using my intuition, because it was a little bit like kind of gung ho. And it's like, okay, well, you can't just say to your man, you have to finish every day before you come inside of me, because that could be a bit much. You got to find the balance, because if things get stressful and if things get like, micromanaging and this is like a fucking data game and science, we're missing the key component here. You are lovemaking. You are creating a child. You are creating life. It needs to be in flow. It needs to be easy. That's why when people say we've been trying for months, and as soon as we went on holiday and stopped fucking trying because we were just like, you know what, we're going to have a break, they then fell pregnant, because this trying and this pressure and this like, analyzing and this controlling, it literally creates stagnation in the body, and it does not bring the energy of openness and warmth and creativity. That is what actually brings the energy of that child in and the soul of that child in. So when I was looking at this stuff about like the ejaculating and, the DNA fragmentation, I'm like, okay, so we want to make sure he's probably coming like 1 to 2 times a week. And the sperm hasn't basically sat in there for like 5 days before he's then finishing inside of me. Ideally, there's been he finished a few days before finishing inside of me. If my fiance listens to this episode, he's going to be like, oh my fucking God, I hate the fact that you were just talking about this. Anyway, moving on. it's really important that you guys are doing all of these physical things. So physical in terms of like, the food and the supplements. And oh, by the way, I think this goes without saying because you guys know me, like you need to clean up your diet. Organic, no fucking pesticides, like home cooked, no vegetable oil, like all of those things, sorry, go without saying. I kind of forget them because I just do them all the time and I talk about them all the time. Clean, 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 clean. Grass-fed, grass-finished meat, organic pasture-raised chicken, wild caught fish, like all of those things are very important. No like conventional produce, you need organic. All those things are really essential as well, not just taking all the supplements, but then eating whatever the fuck that you want. Remember, this isn't just about you. This is about the baby. This is about the health and the this is about the metabolism of your future child. Oh, Jelly's having a stretch. Okay. So anyway, I kind of want to wrap up here because honestly, I want to go lay outside in the sun. We've been here for an hour. Wow. For those of you that want more on the energetic components that we've been doing to kind of prepare the mental, the emotional, that'll come soon. But just remember that those of you that are wondering how I'm setting everything up business wise for motherhood, how I've been preparing myself physically, emotionally, mentally, everything, that new module is coming to the Feminine CEO. All the more reason for you to join the Feminine CEO if you haven't already. I also have an epic bonus that's coming for the Feminine CEO very shortly, as long as you join before, I can't remember the date, but it'll be on the website when it happens. Like basically, as long as you join by like, I want to say end of August, if I'm not mistaken. There's a really epic bonus that you'll get complimentary. Quick last things, I'm going to shoot these off. Can you fall pregnant if you have PCOS? Yes, you absolutely fucking can. I've had plenty of my clients that have come to me being like, a doctor said, blah, blah, blah. We've been struggling to fall pregnant for ages. I have PCOS, la, 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 and they fall pregnant. So absolutely you can. You also can heal from PCOS. If someone tells you that you cannot heal from PCOS, if you hear it on a fucking podcast, it is absolute bullshit. Can you fall pregnant if you have low AMH? Yes. Can you increase your AMH levels? Yes. And then complete side note, but I've got to say this too. Endometriosis is an immune system issue. I did an episode on this a little while back that I would recommend listening to if you haven't listened to it yet. But again, yes, it is possible to heal from endo without having a bajillion surgeries for the rest of your life. If you have really painful periods or acne, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have PCOS or endometriosis. I was listening to this podcast the other day with this fertility doctor that's really big, and what she was saying, and of course my blood was absolutely fucking boiling, based on some of the other things that were coming out of her mouth that had complete lack of context, is she was saying that if you have painful periods, you have endometriosis, and if you have acne, you probably have PCOS. And I'm like, are you serious? So please just remember, guys, like the context is so important. And whilst PCOS is underdiagnosed, it's also overdiagnosed because there are 4 types of PCOS. And so if your doctor is just saying you have PCOS, it's like, well, is it post-pill PCOS? Is it because your adrenals aren't functioning well? Is it because of that? That's why you have PCOS. And it is so possible to heal from PCOS. So please don't think that everything is now hard and you got to like make this label of I have PCOS, so now I can't fall pregnant, because that just isn't true. Okay. Guys, I think we have to have like a part 2 of this episode. I really hope that you'd enjoy it. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I've been sitting here for 2 hours recording podcasts. Wow. I'm going to go have a break. But if you haven't already left a review on iTunes, I'd be so, so, so grateful if you did. Those of you that have done Queen Alchemy in the past, do not forget that the conception plan is in the portal so that you can just like search it when you get in there so you can see it. It's literally just called Conception Guide, so that you can see it. And happy baby making, everybody. Happy baby making. But do everything for 6 months to a year and then start baby making. Okay, I will see you guys soon and have a lovely rest of your day.